All right, welcome back. It's kind regards to the show. This is episode 8. And I want to talk. What do I want to talk about? I want to talk about inertia and an idea. There's a writer who wrote a very famous book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And he has a not very famous sequel to this book, which I love. And it's like my Bible. I'm just obsessed with it. It's called Lila, An Inquiry into Morals. Anyways, the basic premises of this book is that we should, instead of dividing the world up into subjects and objects, we should divide it up into static and dynamic. We should divide it up into stuff that kind of stays around, patterned stuff, and then the unpatterned stuff, the stuff that is, creative and new and dynamic, right? Static, dynamic. The details of this don't really matter. It's a book about philosophy and metaphysics, so it's quite far-reaching in its sort of implications. But for this video, I want to talk specifically about how to generate dynamic value in our lives and how to be continually renewing ourselves and changing and therefore progressing. Change. We can go to change it to lesser value or change to higher value, but if we change enough, our value spidey senses will slowly evolve upwards, right? Like with enough experiments, we will evolve to higher value. And so we've got this huge inertia in our lives, which is the comfort and the stability of what we already have. We all have this thing called loss aversion. We would rather keep what we have than potentially get more and risk losing what we have. There's like economic experiments about this, where people find it quite hard to risk what they have in order to gain a big thing. And so what we want is to consolidate. We don't want to take risks. This is like a natural, people describe it as a biological thing. Whether that's true, I'm not sure. Maybe it's social, maybe it's just a patterned sort of cultural thing. But irrespective of where it comes from, I think we all understand if I quit my job, what if I never get one as good as this? If I change my direction in this artistic pursuit, what if I can't come back and get this? If I change my routine, I'll never be able to ride again. If I, throw that shirt out, what if I never find a shirt like that again? It's really common, and I relate to it heavy in my life, especially with routines. I've had really strong routines in the past where I just adore them, and every day I'm like, this is so sick. And I get a bunch of stuff done, and they culminate, and they start my day really well. So if I ever socialize later in that day, I'm like really attuned to the other person because I've already meditated, I've already exercised, and all this stuff. And so the idea of changing that habit or routine is really frightening because I'm afraid of loss. And so what do we do? We need to be dynamic. We need to break free unless we want to stagnate and stay the same forever and ever. If something's not working, or if we want to change, we have to generate ideas. We have to generate visions of how things could be. And that doesn't happen automatically. Sometimes you get a loose one. Sometimes you get just like a spark, the muse, inspiration, whatever, where all of a sudden you just go, oh, that's it. I'll do yoga before I do the other thing. And it's genius and it just works. But most of the time, well, if we rely on that, then it's out of our hands. This is a way of generating that inspiration on demand. And like it's generating inspiration on demand. I mean, I was trying to put it in a different way, but that's huge. It's generating inspiration on demand. And this is how I do it. I do it for this channel. I do it for Kind Regards. I used to do it for short story writing. And the idea is to write 10 ideas every day. And so what do? Well, we have a little notepad. That's what I do. I put the ideas in one notepad. And every day when I get to work, when I do my thing, I write down 10 ideas. They can be trash. They can be really bad. They can be really similar to previous ideas, but just a little bit different, worded differently, or have like a slightly different spin on them, or like an addition to the idea. You know, if I have an idea for a video and then I have an idea for a setting that matches that video, I can kind of pair them up and go, that's the idea, is this combo of ideas. That's fine. But they've got to be ideas and they've got to be new. I can't cheat, and I've got to write 10 a day. Now, if you think that's too much, then I challenge you to go further and write 20 a day and make them all really bad, because that's totally possible, and I've done it, and it's easy. It's way easier than you think. I can do 10 ideas in about 15 minutes. And although I don't make videos out of all of them, and they're not all bangers, a lot of them I read the next day and I kind of go, oh, you know, that's a bit of a fart. Like that kind of sucks. Excuse me. Some of them work, and I get more ideas doing this than I do any other way or any other non-method of doing this. And so I do it with video ideas, but I think you can just apply it to everything. If you are struggling with finding a partner, you know, with similar interests, and you're on Hinge or Tinder or whatever, Bumble, and everyone sucks, you know, first of all, get off those apps, because they're designed to keep you on the app. They're not designed to hook you up with someone long term. They're all designed to addict you to the app. That's the whole point. Look into it. It's true. So get off the apps and write 10 ideas a day of where your future husband or your future wife would be right now. You know, what would they be doing on a Saturday morning? Would they be playing sport? Would they be doing an environmental bush regeneration thing? Would they be doing an online course? Would they be doing this? Write down all the places where you can find a person like you, where you can find a person who has similar interests. Do 10 a day. And that I have no doubt that by the end of a week, the end of 20 days, you'll be shocked at how much more you'll think, how much more creatively you're thinking about this problem. You can do the same for habits. You can do the same for jobs. You're at a crossroads in your career. What do I want to do with the rest of my life? 10 ideas a day, dude. Write down fireman, policeman, like, I don't know, the other ones that end in man. No, just write, like, just crank them out. Not for profit, giving children basketballs in Haiti, you know, graffiti artists, like, just crank them out. And one of these is going to make you go, actually, I might look into that. Maybe it's easy to become a social worker than I think. Or maybe with my degree, I can actually do a bridging course. Maybe that's on. Maybe I can do that. And the beauty of this thing is that generating ideas is a skill. Generating ideas is not a thing that happens to you. It's a thing that you make happen. And if you practice it, if you do it every day, and you're generating 10 ideas about anything, whether you're an artist or you're not, whether you write reports at work and you want the reports at work to be funnier or more creative or more concise, and you're just writing ideas of how to cut the fat on this report. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you're making. We're all making something. We're all making some kind of contribution. Conversation starter ideas for when you're with your nan and you don't know what to say to her because you go visit her on Sundays and you don't know what to say because she's a 80-year-old woman and you're not, you know. It just goes on and on, the things you can write ideas for. But when you practice this skill, when you really do it every day and you get good at it, it just goes on and on. You have access to the infinite potential, the infinite ideas that are out there at all times. And when you really need an idea, you can just sit down and boom, 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 you'll just get them. It's crazy. Whatever you're up to, whatever you're doing in your life, whatever you need to get done, 10 ideas a day, it'll get it done. It'll get you the creative lightning bolt that can knock you into the next pattern, into the next stage, into the next routine, into the next habit, into the next static pattern of value. Shout out to Robert Persig, who inspired this idea. This has been Kind Regards, episode 7. Thank you.